when we think of God, we want to think of our neighborhood. We don't think like, the infinite universe that goes farther than we can even imagine. No, we kind of look at it in terms of the solar system. And we see the solar system not as just a mechanical, geological phenomenon. No, it's a living system. It has life to it. What we see with these physical senses is just the very densest part of it. We don't, for instance, we don't even see the magnetic fields of our own planet unless we see the aurora. But even then, we're not seeing the magnetic fields. We're seeing the radiation that's lighting up when it encounters the magnetic field. Magnetic field's invisible. Every planet in the solar system has a magnetic field, one degree or another. We don't see any of that. We don't see the gravitational forces as they occur when the planets are in their different positions. All of that's completely invisible to us unless we look at it with instruments. So what we see in this solar system is so limited, and it's limited to the densest level of what it is. If we could see everything, we would see far more. We would see the livingness of it. An easy way to look at that is if you follow astrology. If you know anything about astrology, it depends on the position. Your personality depends in large part to the position of the planets. It's very accurate. If I've had readings done and I've seen readings of other people, and usually just if the astrologer is good, it just nails them to a T. So we see there's that dynamic that affects us so profoundly. When a person is born, they're affected profoundly by that. But that's not just gravitation. That's not just the position of the planets. No, there's something much deeper and more profound going on. The position of the planets and the gravity of which are just features, minor features. So there's some intelligence at work in this whole thing we have no idea of. We see what it does, but it's very hard to see it. So our cosmology includes the solar system. We keep it to that, and of course, the constellations that surround it, but without getting too deep into that. If we think of that, then the source of all light, life, and love is the sun. That's why we say Jesus Christ is the Son of God, the S-O-N-S-U-N of God. Because in our cosmology, we recognize that each and every planet has its own intelligence, its own being, you could say. It has a beingness to it. And what holds all of that together, around which all of them orbit, is the great solar being, or what we call the Christ being. So what we see is a tiny fraction of what exists. It has to be that way so that we can survive in these bodies on this planet. But if our senses were opened, we would be able to see the intelligences that surround us. We would see the beings that surround us. Now, we call Jesus Christ because Jesus allowed himself to be overshadowed and filled with the Christ being itself. The Lord of the Sun lived through the body and mind and heart of Jesus. This is the mystical and esoteric understanding of his mission. He became a channel for the highest intelligence in this solar system. And that's what we are all working towards. Self-realization, the way it manifests, is that when you realize that that solar deity exists in you and is you, then the whole spiritual path is about letting it express through you. Let it enjoy its creation through you. Because as you experience joy, it experiences joy. It is being joyful through you. And when you look at it that way, when you realize that the sun at the center of the solar system lives right in the center of you, then everything starts to grow. Everything moves toward a state of oneness. everything becomes one thing with many parts, but all unified in one thing. That's why we say Jesus Christ is the Son, S-O-N, Son, S-U-N, of God, because each one of us is a S-O-N, S-U-N, Son of God. That's our very nature. The sun at the center of the solar system lives and exists in the center of us. We only think that the sun is at the center of the solar system, because in reality, the sun fills the entire heliosphere. The whole solar system is filled with the light of the sun, the radiation of the sun, the force of the sun. So it's like the cytoplasm of a cell. It's filled. Or like the amniotic fluid in an egg. It fills the egg. The sun is right here. But the way we're created, we sacrifice ourselves to be a living vehicle of life itself. The very force and power and intelligence of life lives in and through us. And that's what it means to be a Christian, speaking esoterically, mystically. The Hindus know this, and the Buddhists certainly know it. They don't put it in the same words, but I've met them. I see where their light comes from. So that's what we study. That's what we do. We find ways to the center and to identify that with the center of the God being within which we live, which just because it works better to restrict it or to constrain it, we mean this solar system. Because if we can understand how this solar system works, I mean, that's the key to everything. Not just how the planets move and all of that, and the moons and all of that. No, what's the intelligence? Not just the gravity, but what's the intelligence going on? What is there that makes a horoscope work? Why do we reflect the internal structure of the native state of the solar system? We do. I mean, there's just too much evidence to deny it. So there's way more going on than what we see.